So the future that we're going into is going to be a battle between the ultra-rich and the rest of us. They've taken over our economy and our government, and now they are taking steps to make sure they limit every chance we have to fight back. It's apparently not enough for them to have all the money and all the power. They now want to take our spirit and our hope and our allies, anyone who might help us make change. And one of the first allies on the chopping block is Greenpeace. You might remember the Standing Rock protests from 2016. They were a series of grassroots protests against the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. Youth from the Standing Rock tribe and surrounding Native American communities organized a campaign to stop the pipeline that went on for well over a year and actually continues to this day. Well, now, Energy Transfer, the company behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, is claiming that Greenpeace USA and Greenpeace International organized the resistance, and they are suing them for $300 million. To be clear, the protests were organized by incredibly brave Indigenous leadership who were using their First Amendment right to protest the pipeline's development, and they were only later supported by outside groups. Hundreds of supporters made their voices heard, from Black Lives Matter to Mark Ruffalo. And lest we forget, this was only a couple of years after Clive Bundy staged a full-armed standoff against the federal government over grazing land for his cows, and absolutely nothing happened to him or any of his violent compatriots. They actually got everything they wanted. What Energy Transfer is doing is because they know that they have more money than Greenpeace for litigation. And if Greenpeace loses, then they could be financially destroyed in the United States. And the oil and gas industry will have effectively ended 50 years of environmental activism just like that. If the next stage in American leadership is going to threaten our First Amendment rights over and over again, then it is essential that we have organizations like Greenpeace to have our back. This year, the House already passed a bill that would give the Treasury Department the power to shut down nonprofits deemed to support terrorist groups without having to provide evidence. That would be anyone from Palestinian rights organizations to environmental or women's rights groups. This will force those groups to have to go into expensive, drawn-out litigation to prove that they aren't terrorist organizations, with the goal being to silence dissent. And now, while that bill can't pass in the currently controlled Democratic Senate, there is a very strong chance it will pass in the Republican-controlled Congress next year, giving Trump a weapon to go after any dissenting groups. Corporate power, aligned with our now far-right government, will do anything to take it all. The last thing an oil company wants while the government dismantles the EPA and environmental protections to better serve them is organizations like Greenpeace who will help the people fight back. So I wanted to be sure you knew what Energy Transfer is trying to do, because I think it sets a dangerous precedent against those who would stand up to power. I think we need to protect our rights to protest, to put pressure on this company to withdraw their lawsuit against Greenpeace. So if you have a moment, please click the link below or in my bio to sign this petition to spread the word to stop this litigation. We need to stand up now for this organization because there will only happen to more organizations down the road, and we have to show these companies that they're not going to be able to just shut down the voices of anyone who would stand against them. I mean, not without a fight. This is where it begins. We can't just sit back and let things like this happen. We still have rights, and we need to remind these corporations that we know that, and we're going to use them. We're going to use them every single time. So check the link and sign the petition.